Welcome to Translation Mysteries. In this video, I'll be using live footage from my Xenoblade Chronicles 3 stream. But first, I want to make one thing clear. Localization is an art, not a science. There's almost never a right answer, so these are just my opinions at the end of the day. With that out of the way, let's get into it.
慎重に行こうぜ。ここんところちょっと無茶が過ぎたからな。
はあ、珍しいな。
うっせ。
Mezurashi means for something to be rare, so she's saying that it's very rare to see lands talking about being careful. They translated it as, that's one for the books, which can be interpreted as it's something that happens so rarely that it's worth recording in a book, as the idiom would imply. I like that translation. Whether or not you like the translation is probably based on what you want in your localization.
見事な欺瞞装置だな。道理で誰も見つけられないわけだ。
驚くのはまだ早いぞ。
驚くのはまだ早いぞ。
これはいいもんだろ。
驚くのはまだ早い is as a common phrase used. It just means it's a little early to be surprised. They translate it as save some of your supplies for later.
娘って言ってたけど、どういう意味？
失念していた。お前たちに娘という概念はなかったな。つけばわかる。
つけばとはシティのことか。
このエレベーターはシティへと向かっている。
Did she say she'll explain? Because skeba wakaru means you'll understand once we arrive, which is kind of different than explaining. Unless she means that when they arrive she'll explain, but that just wasn't in the Japanese.
もう驚いてもいいだろ。全部がすげえな。
So the line that Lance just said ties back into what Monica was saying before, where she was saying, save your surprise for later. Odoroku no wa hayai, because he said, Odoroku no wa mou ii daro, which means, we can be surprised now, right? Whereas in the English, I don't think that they tied it back to the conversation from before, which seems kind of weird because the conversation just happened, so why wouldn't they translate it to have it be tied back into that conversation? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, to us, we experienced the dialogue so close to each other where they were being surprised, and then Lance says, okay, we can be surprised now, right? But maybe the translators weren't the same, or maybe there was one translator and they didn't translate those two conversations close to each other or something like that. I don't know. It seems very obvious to us that those two lines should be related to each other, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
やっとたどり着いた。と言っていいものかどうか。
なんでだよ。
まだ敵とも味方ともわからないんだぞ。安心するのは早い。体温らしいな。
Taion dashi means that's just like you, Taion. But those sort of phrases are very often used in Japanese in ways that you don't use them in English, so they didn't translate it the same way.
我々は志を同じくする者たちだ。
モニカさん。
わかりました。
I'm assuming a lot of people don't need this to be explained, but in Japanese she said Monika-san, and they translated that as Miss Vandom or whatever her last name is. The honorific san is respectful, so as this person seems to be like her student or something, they changed it to saying Miss last name.
まっすぐここを目指すと踏んでいたんだが、なぜかお前たちは敵の本拠とでも言うべきキャッスルへと乗り込んでいった。ああ。正直焦ったよ。無謀を通り越したその行動。もしかしたら今度のウロボロスたちはバカの集まりではないのかとすら思った。
So a bunch of raving lunatics in Japanese was just baka, which means idiots. She said she was flipping out in English, which makes it sound like she was angry, but in Japanese she said asetta, which means she was flustered basically. But maybe flipping out can mean something different depending on what English that's based on, you know, like British English or American English. Miriam has it as to become crazy or very excited or angry. Yeah. So, kind of different, because aseru is just to become flustered.
ここは
It's the only enemy.
出産のための施設だ。
出産
Shusung is to give birth.
先生、いいか？
Technically, what she said is this is the place for giving birth, which in English they decided to simplify it to maternity ward, which is correct. But in the Japanese, it feels like maybe the character Monica was explaining it, basically, you know, the place where people give birth, because she already knows that maternity is not a word that they would know or would need to know. Though I guess give birth is also something else that they wouldn't need to know, but it's still more of an explanation than the word maternity.
めちゃくちゃ小さいのに動いているもん。感動ですもん。
Kando is to be moved. So Manana's saying that seeing this is like a moving experience, a moving thing for her. Much rejoicing is very different. I don't know that I would be happy with that translation.
ねえセナ、すごいよ。セナも触ってみて。
The reason they don't translate Sugoi directly to like, this is amazing, this is awesome, or something like that, is that they want that to just be implied by the reaction and by saying, Sana, look at this, right? They don't want it to be in the words, they want it to be in the actions.
詳しく知りたいならそこの先生に聞くといい。
人間本来の姿知りたい人手を挙げて。うん。ならば教えて信ぜよ。驚くぞ。
Ningen no honrai no sugata, I think is what they said. That means the real form of humans. Who wants to know what the real form of humans is? I guess they didn't want to translate it just like that. That's not really... I mean, it's fine. But I think they were going for something funny with Who Wants to Know How Babies Are Made, which is pretty funny, but yeah, not the same as the Japanese. That cutscene was pretty funny, though, so I can see why they want to make the dialogue funnier.
すまない。ご苦労だったな。
Gokuro datta is similar to Otsukare-sama in that you basically can't translate it. So every time you see Gokuro-sama, Otsukare-sama, you have to figure out a way to translate it based on the context. Gokuro-sama just means good work.
で、あるべき姿に戻ったらどうなる？
お前たちが見てきたここの人々の姿。あれが当たり前となる。生まれ、育ち、産み、老い。自然へと帰るあの姿がな。
Umare, sodachi, umi, oi. When they were explaining that part in English, where it said babies, children, adult, whatever, they were actually using actions in the Japanese. So umare means to be born, sodachi means to be raised, umi means to birth, oi means to grow old. So I think I like the Japanese better in that part, because instead of saying exactly what people will be like, baby, children, adults, whatever, she's explaining it by saying what each phase would be like for people. That's an interesting difference. That's all for now. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, a heads up, the live translation stream for Yokai Watch 4 is coming up soon. So if you'd like to take part, be sure to drop a follow over on Twitch at BrooklynB_JP. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.